The ego's cornfield. Why fear keeps calling it a good life. In the pantheon of Twilight Zone episodes, few stand as starkly allegorical as Season 3, Episode 8, It's a Good Life. On the surface, it tells the story of a 6-year-old boy with limitless power who terrorizes his town. But look again, mighty companion, and the episode unfolds as a perfect parable of the ego. Anthony Fremont is not simply a child with unchecked ability. He is the symbol of a mind split off from God, drunk on its imagined autonomy and terrified of its own shadow. The people of Peaksville live under constant surveillance. Every thought is monitored, every emotion scrutinized, and every word weighed for danger. They must smile, flatter, and say, "That's real good, Anthony," no matter how grotesque or destructive his actions become. This is not merely small-town horror. It is the condition of the mind under the ego's rule. Fear silences truth. Authenticity is buried, and coerced positivity becomes survival. The inhabitants are not living. They are managing a tyrant, hoping appeasement will save them. This is what happens when the ego is believed. The mind bends to its demands, calling pain good and destruction fine because it fears annihilation. That trembling smile, that false agreement, is what gives the ego its seeming power. And when Anthony punishes, he sends people into the cornfield. See the cornfield where guilt is buried, the unconscious mind's field of repression. Corn is a commodity, one stalk indistinguishable from the next, and that sameness is the ego's form of erasure. What is buried there is not healed, only disguised as gone. We all have a cornfield. It is the psychological basement where guilt and fear are stuffed away, made to look absent but never undone. And repression never heals. What is pushed into the cornfield festers and mutates, waiting to re-emerge in twisted form. That is why the town's terror never ends. The very act of burying their truth guarantees its return. Anthony himself is the perfect image of the ego. He is not wise, not mature, not loving, but simply powerful without guidance. He confesses openly, "I hate anybody that doesn't like me." That is the ego's cry, a spoiled child of separation demanding worship while believing it is unloved. And when the mind believes that cry, fear obeys and tyranny takes hold. Anthony's power, like the ego's, is not external. It is thought itself. Just by using his mind, he erases machines, destroys people, and warps reality. This is a metaphysical clue. The world itself is made by thought. If thought made it, thought can unmake it. Anthony misuses this truth, but the symbol remains. Creation is mental, not physical. And this is where the title lands its punch. The ego's cornfield. Why fear keeps calling it a good life. The most chilling refrain of the episode is the people repeating, "That's good, Anthony. That's real good." But what they really mean is, "I'm terrified, and if I flatter you, maybe you won't annihilate me." In the ego's world, good does not mean real. It is a survival tactic, a bribe, a relabeling of horror to keep the tyrant calm. True life, spirit's life, is beyond both good and bad. To call something good is already to be on the battlefield, where its opposite lurks nearby. Reality does not need adjectives. What God creates simply is. Love is not good compared to bad. Love is. That is why this story is so haunting. It shows how calling nightmare survival good becomes the ultimate distortion. When Anthony makes it snow, an act that will starve half the town, his father nearly breaks. He starts to rebuke him, glimpsing that this cannot be good. But fear wins. He turns back with a broken smile and says, "It's real good that you made it snow, Anthony." This is the collapse of the will under guilt. It sees destruction, but calls it good. Why? Because fear says there is no other choice. And this is the exact mechanism by which guilt perpetuates in the mind. Only one man dares to speak truth. Dan Hollis, drunk at his birthday party, blurts out, "You're a bad little monster." For his honesty, he is punished, transformed into a jack-in-the-box and banished to the cornfield. Yet he is the only one who refuses the false good. Everyone else remains in bondage, plastering smiles while suffocating inside. Here lies the Course's piercing lesson. The way out is not to keep calling ego's madness good. It is not to appease the child tyrant of fear. It is to look directly at the monster in the mind and declare, "You are not real." Until then, we keep banishing guilt to the cornfield, pretending survival is living and worshipping a tyrant who only exists because we agree he does. Rod Serling closes with a warning that seals the parable. If by some strange chance you should run across him, you had best think only good thoughts. That is the ego's law, censorship masquerading as safety. But salvation is not in thinking good thoughts. It is in realizing that all thoughts of fear, whether labeled good or bad, are meaningless. And when meaninglessness is seen, the monster dissolves. What remains is love, whole and unthreatened, needing no adjectives at all. Because only God is real, and only love is true. And when the ego's cornfield is seen for what it is, we remember what a truly good life is, one beyond fear entirely.